All right, welcome to Marketing Monday. All right, thank you everybody that has been following me and just been joining me and joining my journey, my media journey, and coming on here today to have a Marketing Monday conversation. If I have not met you, welcome. Thank you for coming on tonight. My name is Jay, and I will be your organizer for this evening. And we're going to have a Marketing Monday conversation. All right. Every Monday, I host a Marketing Monday topic that is going to be any random topic that is going to be about marketing overall. So that is going to be either for photographers, videographers, or just overall content creators and people who ultimately have their own brand and want to ultimately build that brand. All right. So if you are wanting to learn more about that while you're here, then you are in the right place. So let's go ahead and get started. So, first and foremost, tonight's topic is one that I started with to mostly generate some attention, but it also to do what it needed to do, which in this case is to start off by saying your clients are the problem. Okay. And the reason why I started off with this is because of the fact that I have ultimately and unfortunately have been seeing a lot of posts by content creators, even photographers, even videographers, and keep in mind I'm in all of those fields. So for me to see a post that says you clients aren't doing this and that, or you clients need to learn how to do this and that, and customers aren't really buying anything, and I don't know what's going on with them. And there's a few things to this, right? There's a few things to this because there's something that is being missed, but it's also in how the approach is being had. So when I noticed it, I was like, why is this a common thing? Why is it something that everybody feels like they need to talk about? And why do they need to talk about it in this way? Do you feel like it makes sense for a business owner if Walmart decided to come out and say, all of our customers suck. All of our customers are not doing what we want them to do. Instead, they come in here and they just try to steal and they just try to get over on us. How would that make you feel as a customer, as a client? Okay, because what I'm seeing ultimately is that people are saying clients are asking too many questions, clients are not following directions, clients are wanting too many things to be changed, people are just complaining about what the clients are not buying and how they're not buying into their product, into their services. But then we're not really talking about the actual problem. The clients aren't necessarily the problem, but it's also in how we are treating our business in this sense, and people are going to treat us based off how we treat our business. Does that make sense when we just saying it that way? Thank you, Maury, for showing up, Jay for showing up, and Healed by Faith. I appreciate you guys showing up tonight. If you guys have a brand or business, how would you feel if, well, actually, how would you feel? If you're a regular customer, obviously, how would you feel if a brand that you normally purchase from decided to say, hey, our clients suck, our customers suck, our customers aren't doing what they need to be doing, and ultimately it's irritating and they need to do better. Thank you, Queen Kai, for showing up on Instagram. I appreciate you dropping by. How would that make you feel as a customer to see a brand just saying that their customers and clients aren't they're not doing the things they want them to do, they're not following directions, and ultimately they need to change. They need to change, they need to do something better, and they're ultimately the problem as to why their business is not going the way that they want it to go. Okay. What would that put in your mind as a customer or a client? Okay. So for me, I'm just like, I like to kind of go differently. I like to look at things from a different perspective. I would feel as if, because I don't like to jump on everybody's bandwagon, right? Jay says I would feel as though they aren't taking accountability for what they're providing. Okay, that's a good perspective. I like that perspective because it is true. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that's providing a service, right? We're the ones that's providing a product, right? So if I'm not getting people to sign up for my service or not getting people to buy my product, there's something that I'm not connecting with my customers and my clients on, so that way they can actually go ahead and buy that product, right? So I can't go ahead and bash y'all because now what I want you to do isn't happening, okay? So this is where having to understand what that disconnect is and how to figure out how to connect it, right? Because at the end of the day, clients can't read your mind. All right, they can't say, "Oh, well, he really wants me to do this. He really wants me to be able to understand how his booking system works. He really wants me to go in and just pick out a certain thing and do this and do that." Clients don't automatically just know that. Everybody runs their business differently. Okay. Jay says energy is exchanged. So if you're not personable, people won't be comfortable to seek services. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Myra, for showing up as well on my live. I appreciate you guys coming through. Exactly. Because it is an exchange. Okay. Same way how a lot of these big brand companies started making money. The only way they started actually making money is because they got us to trust them. They got to trust them enough to believe that whatever they was offering, that we actually needed it. Even if a lot of times we didn't, we just knew that it was available and they were there to provide it, right? But there was some type of a trust that was built over time, okay? So ultimately, for if you have clients and you're just trying to figure out why they're not purchasing things, why they're not connecting with you and wanting to put money into your services, into your business, this is where you have to think about it as a customer's experience. Okay, understanding, hey, how are you communicating what you need them to do? Okay, explain how the booking process goes. If they don't understand the booking process, then ultimately they're not going to understand how to go through it, and it might, especially if it's confusing, you haven't broken it down to them, you haven't made it simple enough for them, so now they're struggling and trying to figure out how to make it work and how ultimately how to connect with you. And as you guys already know, if you are taking too long to figure out a process, you're going to drop out. You're going to say, forget it. Okay. Nefertiti, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that. We are now talking about what it means to have, in this sense, be a client and you have a brand or you work with a business, and their first thing that they want to say is their clients are the issue, that they are the ones that's the reason why their services and their brand isn't popping off the way that it needs to. Okay. Snapshots popping up. Okem, thank you so much for stopping by. Okay. So, and then of course it goes into what we want them to look at is what should they bring? What should they wear? Specifically, if you're a photographer or a videographer, okay? How many revisions they get, especially for people like myself that's providing services when it comes to a project. And I know that you need certain things in that project, but if I'm not making specifics of, hey, you need only this amount of revisions, then you're going to go on and run with them revisions, right? Okay, how long does it take? What's included? What's not included? How you expect them to behave? All of those things matter. A bunch of people just popped up on TikTok. Thank you so much for stopping by. Photo booth guy, Danielle, thank you, MOV. And Queen Kai says, definitely sounds like a lack of accountability. And that's the common thing right now, is that it's definitely a lack of accountability. Okay. And I'm going to speak from both sides. So I'm not going to make it seem as if it's just the business owners that are doing the fucked up shit. Okay. Excuse my French. But at the end of the day, if we want to be for real, there is some give and take that needs to be taking place. So if you understand that, hey, this is something that is going wrong right now, it's not happening the way that you want to, you have to figure out the solution versus sit around and talk about the problem. Okay, we can't be angry with that someone that didn't follow your instructions that you never gave them. It's like having a child. You can't be mad at the child if you never told them what to do, how to do a certain thing. So if they go about doing that said thing on their own, then here we are. Then you gotta figure out, okay, then what do I do? Because are you gonna keep berating that kid? Are you gonna keep making them feel bad because something they didn't know? Then you're going to expect them to also try to appease you in every possible way. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So we have to make sure that it plays for both people. Okay. How you doing, Nick? Thank you for stopping by. I love your video. You did a really awesome job on that. Good job with that, man. 12 play. Thank you for stopping by as well. I appreciate you guys coming through, man. Jay says, have to go back to the drawing board. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Have to go back to the drawing board. So for those of you that just jumped in, we're talking about clients being the problem, clients being the issue. Ultimately, been seeing people talking about how clients aren't buying and people aren't purchasing certain things, and they're being mad about why the clients are doing that. And my question to you is, if you're a customer or client and the brand is talking about you as their customer in this way, how would that make you feel? Okay. The Wrestling Bee jumped in. Thank you for showing up. So we all know the phrase, people will treat you how you allow them to, right? So this is going to be one of those things, if you understand that particular concept, that particular quote. Basically, if you're picking at me and I don't say anything about it, right? Or more so, I'm kind of just like laughing it off as if it's nothing. And the next person does it and I still don't speak up for myself, right? Eventually, everybody's going to see, oh, okay, well, this is not a problem because we're not telling them how you want to be treated. It's just like a relationship, okay? Having a business, having a brand with customers is you ultimately having a relationship with that brand and with those customers and with those clients. Jay says we're all still learning. So of course, from a business standpoint, you can't take it personal, right? And I think they're going to continue with that statement as well. Okay, got some hearts over here, so we are definitely agreeing. All right, so now it's gonna be about how do you want them to ultimately come to you as your business clients, as your customers. All right, touched by diversity. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for stopping by. Janai's wave. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm happy to see you on my live, Miss Lady. Thank you so much for coming. Jay says, take it as a stepping stone to better improve yourself and your brand. All right, so you already know where I'm coming with this, right? And where I'm about to go with it. All right, so bear with me, okay? So it's gonna be one of those things where it's just like crossing a boundary. You know what your boundaries are, all right? You put those in place so that way people do not cross them. All right, I'll give you guys an example. I had a client not too long ago who was going to be a potential client, but I have a particular system of how I run certain things, and there's a reason why. It actually benefits me and my customers. So the client came in, just basically sent me an email immediately, which is fine, but the email was vague. Basically wanted me to come through and to film their wedding, right? And it was the man doing it for him and his wife, for a future wife, which is cool, because sometimes I do weddings, so I'm not tripping. But it was the way that he did it that had me like, maybe I should not work with this person, okay? Because what ended up happening was I have a process. If you come to me, I need a booking form, an inquiry form to be filled out so I know where this is going to be, when this is going to be, how long you expecting me to be there, are you needing photography and videography, like all of these details, right? Now keep in mind, he kept pushing to have a phone call with me. He just kept pushing it, and I'm just like, why do you want to keep pushing this phone call? I'm not asking him this. I'm like, yo, can you fill out this form? And then we can get to the phone call. Like, I'm not telling you we can't do it, but let me fill out this form so I can see what I'm working with, and then we can get to the phone call. He kept denying to do the form. I'm not sure why. I don't understand it. I understand some people may say, you know what, I just want to get to the call immediately instead of waiting. That's cool, but that's not my process. It will help me to save, I promise you. Help me to say about 30 minutes if I get that form filled out. If I get on that phone call with you, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to sit there. I'm basically filling out the form with him on the phone to say, hey, where's it going to be at? How many people is going to be there? What do you need? I could have had all that information on the form. That way, I'm not having a free conversation with you, and you might not even book me, okay? So this lets me know, like, hey, you understand what I got going on. And if you're just keep turning it down, what do you think is going to happen? If somebody respects their business, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to say, you know what? And what I did, I said, we're not a good fit. Okay. And it's okay. But I hope you do get somebody that you need for your amazing day. I have no ill will, but there's a process. And if I'm looking at it from the future long point, if this is an issue just to do this form, who's to say that this wasn't going to be a further issue once I get into the job with you? All right. So I think about those types of things because I've been in this long enough to understand how to read certain people and how they come with certain things. And usually, if it's like my alarm's going off, like even if I know it's money, I listen to that. And save me a lot of headache in the future. Okay. Janine says they gotta respect the system. It's a collaboration. Yes, everything that we do is a collaboration. Okay. Jay says I'm working on my photography to turn it into a business. I know I have to do better research on how I conduct it. And from what you just said, not all clients are your clients, and that's okay. And that's the biggest thing that a lot of us have to remember. Like I just said, I let go of one potential client. Who's to say? Because keep in mind, weddings be paying. But one thing I'm not going to be paid for is a headache. I'm not going to have you pay me to give me a headache. Okay. And that's saying that respectfully, because I have done many weddings, but I've had, those have been enjoyable. I've had a great time. Right. So that is what I'm saying, making sure that, of course, it is a collaboration. We understand how the two of us can make this a beautiful event for everybody involved. Okay. So this is where, as us, as the brand, as the business owner, is going to have to first understand education. Okay. So you educating the people, say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it. All right. Saint J jumped in. Hey, what's going on, bro? Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that. Key jumped in on TikTok. Thank you for showing up. First thing's educating. Like I did with the guy, I told him this is my process. This is how I do things. please go ahead and follow suit and we can make something happen. Okay. And of course, if that doesn't take place, then we enforce it. That's the second step. We go ahead and enforce that first step because I need you to understand that I'm serious, because you're not going to go to Savage Fenty and do the same thing. You're not going to go to these big brands and say the same thing. You're going to follow suit what their process is to get the result that you want. So just because I am a local photographer and videographer does not mean that I also am not going to stand on 10 with my business. All right. So that's from the business and brand perspective. All right. Then, of course, understanding, like Jay said, if they are for you or not, and then being okay if you have to go ahead and bow out respectfully. All right. One thing that we do not want to do here, if we're trying to grow as a business and as a brand, one thing we do not want to do is go ahead and just start bashing our clients. Granted, yes, there is some things that are frustrating in the line of business, but that does not mean you go ahead and you talk about the whole experience and bash them, especially if it's something that could have been prevented, in my opinion, right? Because typically these could also be learning lessons. I have had many lessons that I have learned from working with certain clients. Then I had to realize, let me switch up my way of doing things. Let me switch up how I talk about certain things, just so that way I'm not having this happen again. If it happens again, that's all on me. All right. That's when the accountability comes into play. All right. So now, of course, as Jay has already been saying, stop trying to make everybody your customer. Okay. Not everybody's going to need photography. Not everybody's going to need videography. Not everybody's going to need coaching, your event, or your product. And that's okay. Some people are just going to be in here to be nosy. Okay. I have a couple of products. So I actually have one product that's out right now, which is an ebook for beginner videographers. And then I have, of course, where I teach some beginner aspects when it comes to photography. I am not saying that I am so advanced that I can teach you any and everything, but I can get you started. That's something that I know for sure that I can do, is I can get you started. Okay. So with that being stated, I have made certain posts on multiple platforms where I say, hey, this is what I do. This is how I do it. These are some of the results that I've gotten from it. And then, of course, you can decide if you want to jump on it. And I have a call to action. I'll say comment start, for example, and that way we can get you started. Typically, those that do, I send them a qualifying question, right? Usually, you might see the influencers, they go and send you a link off the rip. I personally don't care for it from a customer's perspective, just because it feels spammy. I understand time is what it is of the essence. Great, but for me right now, until I get to that point where I'm like so huge and can't control the number of people coming in, then I don't mind doing a one-on-one, right? So having a conversation of saying, hey, what can I help you with? Like, what are you here for? Then I decide and hear that they say, okay, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer. Depending on which one you say, it's going to be depending on what I send you. That's how we know if you're for me or not. But if you start getting into a place that conversation is not going anywhere, you ain't getting shit. Okay? Because at the end of the day, I just qualified you because of the fact of what our conversation is showing up. And you can tell that. All right. And you can tell that. And as you guys know, it's not always the best look to just send a bunch of links over to everybody every time somebody comments on it. And they don't even have to be the call to action. They just send a damn link just because you just commented and said, hey, ultimately you got a brand new link. I hate that. So I try not to do that personally just because of what my preference is. But everybody else might be like, yo, I don't want to have all that conversation, to send me the information and then go about their way. And that's okay. I can do that too, right? If we get to that point. But this is where you have to decide if that client is going to be your client, especially if we're talking about big money, especially if we're talking about thousands of dollars in on an invoice to be paid. So making sure that you are doing what needs to be done to lock that person in, to lock that customer or client in. Okay. So now let's talk about why people are going on this rampage saying that nobody is buying. Okay. And we're going to talk about the reality of it all. Okay. When it comes to the economy. But we'll start off with saying, when you go through saying, and you're concerned as a brand, as an event curator, that nobody is purchasing, what is the biggest thing that you're concerned with, that you have issues with right now? And I'm genuinely asking anybody that's watching that wants to give a response. What are some of the biggest things that you're concerned with, as far as maybe having a hard time really selling, or maybe having a hard time getting people to invest in, that is something of yours? Okay. And I'll go down some list of some things and you can tell me if those relate to you as well. All right. So say you have a product again, like I said, I have my ebook, right? So say you have a product and you're not getting a lot of people to buy that product. All right, we can talk about that. Tell me if you have a product, type in product, for example, right? If you have a service, type in service, especially if you're a photographer or videographer. That means you're trying to get more clients. You're trying to get people to come in and lock in and book you, right? On a consistent basis at that, okay? And then say you have an event. You might put events together on a regular basis, and you're not getting as many people to coming in there and buying your tickets for whatever reason. All right. So that doesn't mean that obviously that those people don't want it. It could be it could be a whole list of things as to why they're not buying those tickets. And we're going to go through that real quick. All right. And I want you to see if any of those things hit with you. Okay. Ghouls Anonymous came in. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Black Stone also showed up. Thank you for coming by on TikTok. I appreciate that. All right. So now, if you're concerned about, of course, your clients not booking, not showing up, not buying something, not being able to, of course, buy their tickets and getting them in advance, there could be a variety of things. So this could include, did you tell people? That's the first and foremost thing. Did you tell people? Did you go around and tell them, I'm about to go off and go crazy. Did you go and tell your followers, your audience, that you have something that is happening right now that you want them to see and know? And not just one time, but several times, okay? Did you tell, and that's the next thing. Did you tell them more than once, okay? Did you explain the value, okay? Janai says, service, I'm working on setting up my systems like forms and finishing up my website. That is a good thing to have in place. Without a system, you will be doing a lot of heavy lifting and probably not getting to where you want it to be. And not just saying specifically for Janai's, but in general. And that's something I had to ultimately learn. Sometimes that building that system can take a long time, but once you get it down packed, even if you just get the bare bones of it good, you can at least work on that and tweak it over time. So I'm actually happy to hear that. All right. So that system's going to help you out a lot. It's going to save you a lot of headache and time. Okay. So again, did you explain the value of what you're offering? All right. Did you show the experience? Okay. Did you show them the results? All right. So got no C. Was that Canon 7.4? I'm assuming that's Canon with the 4 in it. Came through. Thank you for stopping by. All right. Did you show who it's for? Do the people even know that it's for them? Do they feel like it may be for their brother or sister? Right. Do you know the audience that you're really reaching in that aspect? Are you answering any objections? Right? Are you following up? Are you emailing your list? Did you contact your past clients? Are you posting on multiple platforms? Do you see how much we can do as the business owners, as the brands, to be able to really get people to sign up, buy, and ultimately connect with us on a different way? If you pay attention to, and I know this might not be for everybody, because I already know creating content is a job, bro. It's a job, okay? Trust me, I know, because right now I'm creating content right now. Every Monday I make sure I come through here to do this, and I gotta break this video up in about 5 different pieces and then create at least one carousel and put it on 4 or 5 different platforms for the whole entire week. And that's just one video while still creating 2 or 3 other videos throughout the week. So it's a job. It's a job. I'm not gonna discredit that. But if you pay attention to people who have been making it, who have been selling things, who have been getting their shows sold out, most of the time, either they have connections and collaborations with other people that can help them reach a lot of people and ultimately getting those people to also come in and invest and purchase what they have, or they're getting to a place to where they are posting it a lot. They're talking about it a lot. Okay. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. It doesn't have to be the sexiest thing all the time, right? We get thirst traps because they do work. But then, of course, if you use them strategically, they can either work for you or just be basically just free views that don't go anywhere. All right. But if we understand how to utilize the content, how to utilize the content that's going to have people stop scrolling, ultimately grabbing their attention. As we know, you hear about the hook all the time. Grab them in the first 3 seconds, right? It took me literally up until this point to realize the hook in the first 3 seconds. Now I put the hook all over my video. You get 3 seconds plus 10 more, just because in case you missed it the first 3 seconds. Like, it's gotten to that point to where now you start to understand what works for you or what doesn't work for you. Because what works for me might not work for you, but you still want to make sure you're trying at least everything at least one time, just so you can see what is going to happen, how it's changing up for you, if it's helping you at all. And if it's not, then of course you can either tweak it or throw it away. All right. So those are the things that I would say when it comes to ultimately talking about the reason why nobody is buying. Okay. And then, of course, it goes into something about this, the same thing when it comes to the tickets, right? We just talked about things you can do when it comes to tickets and understanding, of course, what makes your show different from everybody else's. Let's be honest. There's a lot of people, depending on what we do, and I'm in the pole industry, all right? So pole dancers come through all the time. Speaking of, another one just came through right now. Unknotted Coach KB just came through. She, how you doing, love? Thank you for stopping by. So, meaning that there's a lot of shows that we have, all right? When it comes to shows, we have a lot of pole shows. So now that so many of the shows are coming up, what is going to make you stand out to get your clients to buy, right? Because as of right now, we can see there's a method. There's a basic method a lot of people are doing. They're having a flyer. They're having maybe a few videos being showed. They post about it a few times. And then ultimately, the show is here, right? But what is going to make these shows stand out? We know that now people are doing themes and they're separating themselves in that way. But then what else is going to make you more unique? It's like every time something starts getting popular, you got to figure out a way to not be like everybody else. Just because something is trending doesn't mean that you have to do that same thing that's trending to be seen, because now you're just a part of the trend. Nothing that you just did is going to make you really be different. It's just going to make you a part of the trend. You're going to be on that boat with everybody else, doing what everybody else is doing. You're going to catch some views because you're on that same trend. But when it comes to you separating yourself and being the one that stands out, and somebody says, oh, I want to go to their show, and finding out why they want to do that, you're going to have to get out that trend. You're going to have to either possibly do something or find a way to tweak that trend into what you're doing. Okay. Hence, it's still going to be different and unique to you. So sometimes that might be the most difficult part. I ain't going to lie to you, because it is you trying to, now you got to get into your creative bag. But this is why I personally do a few things. I go for long walks, right? I listen to a podcast. I watch a lot of things outdoors instead of scrolling. And then if I do decide to scroll, I try to go into a different realm that's not my average. It's because I want to make sure that, again, it is different. It is different because you have to stand out, right? And then, of course, understanding who your event is for and reaching and speaking to them directly. Once you start doing a lot of these things, then you start understanding who you're going to connect with, because your audience is going to show you who they are. They're going to pop up. They're going to say, okay, so now somebody sees me. Now somebody understands what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, and now I can actually relate to them. Hence, now they're going to decide to go ahead and buy the ticket. They're either going to probably watch a bunch of videos, ask you a couple questions, or just say, you know what, I'm just going to buy the ticket. And then it's the marketing aspect of it all, right? Understanding, of course, how to create that urgency and saying, hey, this is about to be done right now. We can have this sale real quick, but it's going to end in 24 hours, right? Marketing tactics to have to learn, of course, right? So, like I said, the reality of it all, and at the end of the day, we can't ignore this, all right? Money ain't like it used to be. The economy is definitely not where it used to be, all right? But the truth of it all is also people going to buy what they want to buy. People are going to buy what they want to buy. When Beyonce comes in town, what happens? I don't know how many posts I have heard people say that they put their whole rent on the Beyonce ticket. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I would not be surprised to get a once-in-a-lifetime chance to be up and personal underneath Beyonce in that, whatever that inner circle is, just to be able to get her sweat on y'all. How many people are not going to do that? Chris Brown and Usher right now. Perfect example. Keep in mind, I love both of them. But no, okay, that's just because $600 for me personally, and that's just me personally. I'm a good concert goer, but I'm not set purchasing tickets to a certain extent. Nothing against people that do. If you got it like that, please go ahead and enjoy yourself, right? But when it comes to that, I'm just like, I can play the music at the house. I can watch the clips when I see them. I can have a good old time without having to do that. And again, I want you guys to enjoy it if you can. But that goes to show you that people are going to pay for what they're going to pay for. They're going to pay for what they want. Like Anad said, sell out. Sell all the way out. Beyonce is not missing no meals when it comes to the way y'all buy these tickets. All right? If Rihanna decided out of all these years to say, you know what, I'm going to drop one song, it could be the shortest of snippets, and it's going to be the brand newest thing come out of her. Y'all going to stop everything to go and buy those tickets. So it's one thing to say, yes, the economy is what it is, But I promise you, the way credit cards be maxed out, the way Afterpay be after paying, you gonna find a way. So now you got to figure out how to get people to find a way for yours. How to get them to find a way. Lush Escapades came through. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right. Check that page out. Definitely got some amazing events coming up. Kevin Higgins stopped in as well. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. You said llama. KB said llama. I'm going to see what that means. Maybe she meant something else. Klarna. Okay. Autocorrect is a mug. Oh, man. No problem. No problem. So, Klarna. Exactly. How many of y'all have made sure you built up your Afterpay? How many of y'all made sure you built up your Klarna account? QuadPay, I think, is still in effect. Like, you make sure you get the funds to do what you really want to do, right? Hence why sometimes our priorities be all jacked up. But that's not my business. I have a business. My only business is to make sure that I'm selling you something. And that you want it enough that you're going to go ahead and max that thing out to get it. That's not for me to count your pockets. All right. If I sell you such good value so much and you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get that. That means I did my job. All right. And this is not a conversation about morals. This is a conversation to find out exactly what we're talking about when it comes to understanding how to really appeal to your clients. Understand how to appeal to your customers because the money is out there. Don't let this economy fool you. The money is out there. All right. Luscious is called Zip now. QuadPay. Oh, damn. Okay. You're right. It is called Zip now. See, that's how I don't even use QuadPay. But that's a whole different conversation. That guy stopped in. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. So it's one thing, yes, we accept the reality. But then let me ask you, as business owners, just because the economy is what it is, does that mean you drop your prices half price and just slash everything in half? And I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, but we're going to have a real conversation, right? If we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. If the economy is giving the impression as if it's just so bad as it is, do we slash our prices? Okay. And we know we got to feed our family and we know that we got to put bread on the table, which is the same concept, but ultimately also figuratively speaking, right? No. KB and Lush says no, and not necessarily. Okay, so yes, you can have sales. Yes, you can have discounts. We can pay attention to what's happening into the world and we can adapt to certain things. But when it comes to just saying, you know what, I'm just going to slash everything. If it's going to be putting your business at risk, don't do it. Just find another way. Thank you. Before I even said anything, KB says, can you have different tiers? Yes, you can. Okay. Just like the way that I personally have right now, I have tiers, okay? Because I have different ways of how you can work with me, all right? I got content days. Content days are going to be your cheapest bet to work with me. I ain't going to lie to you. That can range from, okay, $75 to right now I got a content day going up to $175. And as the reason is because of the location, okay? The location could be something as simple as a hotel room. If I'm doing photos, you come in there for 30 minutes, you get great pictures, a lot of shots to choose from, and you go about your way. All of a sudden, 175 right now, I got 3 photographers on deck, me included. You get 3 photographers, 15 pictures, so you have different levels. That's just for the photos and the content day. I'm not even getting into like campaigns and marketing projects and stuff like that. Those can go up to the thousands. But if you want to get into like an introductory price, you can do that. Yes, you can do that because it still goes back to I'm still giving you options. I'm not telling you this is the only way you can work with me. I'm still giving you options. Is it Nick Ricky or is it not Ricky? I'm gonna call you Ricky for now until I get a correction. But Ricky just joined in on the live on Instagram. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that. All right, you can have these different types of tiers. If you have options, it gives the people something else to sign up on. It gives them a different way to be able to sign in and lock in with you. All right. SideQuest says, I love your name, first of all. SideQuest Caleb says, or Caleb, I want to say it's Caleb. Showed up on TikTok, so I appreciate that. All right. So yes, having those different options is gonna be everything. All right. So if you're like trying to decide what do I do, how do I make this work, how do I bring people in, let's do different tiers. Do an introductory price, try that out, see how that goes. Have a limited time on it, and and just test it out, right? Still going into the marketing aspect of understanding urgency and how to present it to the world, all right? So now we going into the actual marketing aspect of it all when it comes to, it's not, marketing is more than just buy this. It's more than just putting the banner up there and just saying buy this, all right? And I just heard a video not too long ago where seeing influencers apparently are, as we know, they have products that they get and they purchase these, or they have these products, they're getting paid for those brand deals, but they're also in a way selling them to us, right? So it's almost the same way, except you're an influencer for your business, for your brand. One thing that I'm an advocate for is for my brand. So if you have a business or a brand, you're going to promote that like your life depends on it, because it does, okay? Because no matter what happens, no matter what else happens in the world, your brand is still going to be and still going to stay, all right? So that's one of the things I want you guys to always be paying attention to. At the end of the day, you show up for you show up for your brand, and you keep putting your work out there because that matters. Elias came through. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. Okay? So, understanding, of course, you're attracting these different types of clients. You're educating them. You're setting certain expectations, okay? Building desire, filtering, and then converting them. That is literally what we are doing, okay? The whole entire process as a business, as a brand, is, again, it goes back to having that system, like Janai said earlier, having a system in place. So in this case, if you are attracting, you're creating that content. You're letting them know, hey, this is what I got going on, or show them a teaser of that content. Think about yourself as a movie. Like all the big things that we're watching and we're being a part of, you can imitate that same concept into your own business. You see how movies put their stuff out, right? They give you the nicest teasers just to pique your interest, right? And then they say, hey, this is coming out. Make sure you lock it in, put it in your calendar. You can do the same thing when it comes to your business. This thing's about to take place. Make sure you put in your calendar, okay? Make sure you add yourself to my list so that way you get the notification when it comes through, right? And then, of course, you start educating them on what is going to happen. You say, hey, once this comes out, click this link. Make sure that you go to this link, or you type link into the bio or into the comment section, so that way they can go ahead and get the link directly. Maybe they want to get a more personal touch. Or you can say, hey, if you look at this video and you do something else, I'm going to send you something for it, right? You're giving them incentive. That's the educating part, but you have to tell them what to do, because if they start moving in a certain way that you're not expecting them to, it's because you didn't give them any direction, all right? And a lot of times you have to be able to say, ultimately this is your call to action, by the way. This is your call to action. You have to be able to say, hey, this is what you need to do to be able to get such and such, right? Same thing when it comes to the whole concept of why photographers and videographers, for example, or other people are just feeling like customers aren't buying, clients aren't really hitting up for real, and that the industry is not doing what it needs to do. You aren't educating them enough to say, hey, this is out here for a limited time, okay? Showing that countdown to them, letting them see it often, so that way there is no confusion, there is no wondering of, is this going to happen? This is not going to happen. No, this is what is going to happen if you don't jump on this right now. And doing it more than once, right? Putting it in their face on multiple platforms, so that way there is not going to be any question. They already know what's going to happen. Then again, you set the expectations. You let them know, yo, you get this ticket, it's what you're going to get. Okay? If you buy this service, this is what it comes with. Okay? Giving those contracts. If you're in the business of service like myself, you're giving out contracts that have these certain expectations in it. If there's certain revisions that I want you to be able to have, I let you know. You only have about 2 revisions. After that, it's $25 a piece. Eventually, they're gonna be like, you know what? I'm not gonna look at this several different times. Let me look at it one time. That way, they are also going to respect your system. They're gonna respect your time because you told them how to respect it. You told them how to treat you. Okay, so there's that, and then now, of course, it comes to the building the desire. Now you got them interested. Now you want to make sure that you keep them there so they can finish the process. Ultimately, put that card down. Go ahead and buy that product. So you're gonna keep letting them know the value of why they need to be working with you, why they need to go to this event, why they need to buy this product. What is so great about this product that I need to get it right now? Why can I not just wait? Right? But then you say, well, you know what? You can wait, but if you got Afterpay, you can go ahead and put it on there. I promise you can only put $25 today to get this thing going. That's all. Most of the time, that's all they need to know. But, bet you got Afterpay? So I promise you, people are literally saving this thing up like it's their credit score, just to make sure that they are locking in certain things. Believe me, I know because I do it. Okay? So don't discard these people because you feel like, well, nobody's really going to do all of that. That's not true. If you have it set up, they're going to do it because you've had it set up. Okay? V Loan stopped in. Thank you for stopping by. Then it goes to the filtering. We just talked about that earlier. The filtering. Know who your client is. Everybody's not your client. Just because somebody comments on your post does not mean they're your client. I right now am getting so many posts, or excuse me, so many comments from other photographers, other videographers who don't like my posts ultimately because I'm trying to educate on something that's like the most beginner, basic ass shit. But they don't like it because of how it's presenting itself. And then, of course, they're telling me that I need to do better. So I'm just like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I know that I got my audience that's also looking at me because they are themselves are scared to talk about certain things because of the flack that I'm getting right now. All right. But I also know who is going to need what from what I have to offer. So I don't offer it to the people that are in my comments just because they're just talking shit. That's not for them. And I understand that. All right. So because of that, once I've got the filtering, once I give them the desire, we made it all the way down to this part. Now we can convert them over. We can say, you know what? Since you are here, go ahead and lock this in right now. It's not going to be any lower than this. This is going to be the best price that you can get it right now. You can, if you do this right now, you can get this to go along with it. Then they're going to go ahead and decide, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this. Let me lock it in. Let me just go ahead and check it out and see what it is. You know what I mean? And then you leave that door open. You can ask me questions. You can go ahead and look at the other pieces of content. You can go to the website. You can have a ball. You know what I mean? Because you invested in me. You went ahead and put something down to support what it is that I got going on. I want to say, is that Kaylin? Kaylin George? Thank you for stopping by. All right. Now, first and foremost, overall, when it comes to this whole conversation, because of course the topic is your clients are the problem, don't use your platform to publicly like punish your clients. Unless they don't, if not, you being wronged is something completely different. That's not what we're talking about. But if it's a situation where clients don't understand your process and they're going by, they may be asking you multiple questions. That is information. Like for you to discard somebody because they're asking you too many questions specifically about your product is ignorant in my book because they're telling you, hey, I need this information because I'm not seeing it anywhere else. So if you had it available, maybe I wouldn't ask you. But then again, we do know there are people who are still going to ask you questions, even if that information is there available for them anyway, right? And that's okay. Then you can direct them to a link. Again, having a system. If you have a system that has an FAQ already in place for previously asked questions, you can send that to them like, yo, this is going to answer all the questions you have. That way, they're going to answer it, or more so they're going to look through it and get the information that they need without probably having to ask you so much. But if it's something that's not on there, I don't see the reason of why you can't answer it, right? Because that question, it could turn into a paying client. And if not, it could turn to somebody that supports you in general and just says, you know what, this person took the time to actually answer my questions, right? Especially if you're trying to provide a service and they don't know what the service brings, you can't be upset with them if they're trying to figure it out, right? Even though it might be plain as day to you, but they might be like, oh, I just see this thing because it looks so cute, it looks so sexy, and then they don't understand how it can benefit them. This is where you can say, yo, this is what it can do for you, right? And then, of course, if you realize that they are a client of yours, get them in through the door, right? And if they're not, you'll be like, you know what? It's cool. You don't have to get this now, but if you decide later on, you can definitely do so, all right? Having that communication, having that conversation, because at the end of the day, we don't want to be throwing money away, especially if there's a potential for it. I'm not telling you have long-winded conversations with everybody. Have a very simple ass process that allows you to differentiate and qualify your potential customers and your clients, okay? Because they are the ones that are going to buy into what you have. So you can't negate them or throw them out if you still want them to also buy from you, which goes to basically what I've been saying the whole time. I am not going to badmouth my clients and say, oh, my clients do this and that. That's going to say a lot about me. That just means that I don't have a system in place. I have been tweaking my contracts. I have been preparing things in place that people can already know this is how to work with me. This is how to operate when it comes to my business. And thus, they're going to, of course, have those issues. It's going to be friction off the rip. Okay. So I don't want that to be the case. So ultimately, this could be a marketing problem. It is a marketing problem. Okay. So, and I see it all the time. And I just don't understand how somebody can say, I want these clients to buy this, but then it's like turn around and say, oh, these clients suck. They're not buying shit. Like they're not really in it. But then you're posting about that publicly. Like, how do you think that would make you feel? Would you still want to purchase from somebody like that? Tosh and Makia stopped in. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate that. Like, would that make you want to stop and work with somebody who is speaking of you, that wants you to spend your hard-earned money into their business? And how is that gonna make you feel? How do you think that would make them feel? All right. So you have to look at it from different perspectives. So in the biggest scheme of things, what I would do is I would make sure that I run through my process, right, from a customer's perspective. And I would say, hey, looking at what I want my clients to do, is the process simple enough to understand? Is it easy for them to go through? Do they have to stop by and ask me questions to be able to get the answers that they want? Is there something that's broken inside of it? Is there a link that's not going like it needs to, right? Maybe something disconnected along the way that you didn't even realize, and now it's a drop off to where they go through half of the process, but then the other half they don't even get to because it never connects, and nobody tells you about it because they just figured, why should they? You should know these things as a business owner, right? And then, of course, once you get through that part of you going through the process yourself and seeing it from a customer and a client's perspective, then you can see, oh, that's what the problem is. That's why they're falling off. I don't care how long you've been in business. You should always reevaluate your process often, because you never know what's going to happen, how it's going to change. There may be something that comes along in the world that's going to allow you to do it differently. It's going to allow you to do it easier. That's going to allow you to be able to connect a lot better. And when you start understanding and basically playing that over and over again and recycling it and making it better, the system works on its own. That's what you want to get to, is working on its own. All right. So now the big question is, what can I do differently? All right, as a business owner, as a brand, what can I do differently? You bring the audience in to give them questions. If the clients keep doing something you don't like, have I clearly communicated the expectation? Okay. If people aren't booking, have I clearly communicated the value? All right. If people aren't buying, have I marketed the offer consistently? Have I been doing the things that I need to do? Somebody mentioned earlier accountability. Over and over again, they kept saying these businesses and these brands are not holding themselves accountable when it comes to making sure that they are actually reaching the certain customers and why their brand isn't probably reaching a goal that they wanted to reach. It's being holding yourself accountable. Like, if you know you're not doing something, don't be mad at the customers because you aren't doing it. It's you that's not doing it. They're the ones that's going to pay you to be able to get this thing to be done. But if you do what you said you're going to do, then ultimately you know that you have something that you can track, right? You can look at it and say, okay, I've done this. Now let me try something else. Because let's be honest, the customers aren't looking around and saying, are they still in business? I want to make sure that they're still growing. I want to make sure that I can put money into them. Like, they might ask about it, but they're not automatically going to be the ones to save you. You're still going to need a good amount of clients to make sure that you're still staying afloat, still staying alive when it comes to your business and your brand. So these are going to be some of the questions you want to make sure that you're asking. People aren't attending your events. Have I given them a compelling reason to attend? Okay. If I'm consistently getting the wrong client, is my marketing attracting the wrong people? Trying to figure out how to switch that up, right? Bucket Low, Vibe Lova, thank you so much for stopping by, right? If people keep crossing your boundaries, have you established them enough? Have you enforced them enough? If somebody refuses to respect your process, why are you still trying to make them your client? Why even waste the time? Just go ahead and say, you know what, this is not for you, and save yourself some headache, okay? And just go about doing what you really want to do. That's going to be your business. It's going to be your brand, and working at that. Siobhan came through. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. All right. So now this is the do better section. Okay. This is what is one thing I can change in my business that can prevent this from happening again. And so basically, with everything that I've said today, for those that have been here for the whole entire time, what are some things that you can look at and be like, you know what, I need to do this differently? If you already know from your business that there's some things that you're probably missing out on that you probably haven't been doing as you know that you should, and that would also help you when it comes to gaining your clients' trust, be able to get them to actually invest in you, to pay for something, to purchase your brands, brand products, digital products, whatever that may be, to be able to book a service, buy tickets to an event. What are some things that you know that you can do to be able to get them to do that said thing? Because if we really want to look at it and we want to make sure this relationship is actually holding strong between you and your customers and your clients, we have to make sure that it continues to be a two-way street. You give value, then they start to pay for that value. If you're not giving a value, then they're not going to automatically decide that they want to pay for it, right? It's one thing to get people that's going to just support you and just want to go ahead and just donate, whatever that may be. But when you're talking about truly wanting to purchase something, put their hard-earned money, especially if we're talking about like hundreds of dollars at a time, what are you doing to let them know that this is worth them spending their whole paycheck on it, right? And that it could come back to them. It could benefit them. It could be a reason that they can possibly make this money back, right? How could you explain that to them specifically so that they know, hey, I am ultimately making an investment, not in you alone, but also in myself. So if I do this, this is going to be a benefit for both of us. And it's a collaboration. Like somebody mentioned earlier in the comments, this is a collaboration. All right. So now some things that I want you guys to be able to do is, if clients don't know what to bring, create a prep guide. Sometimes it's something as simple as that. Clients don't know what to bring, create a prep guide. Clients constantly ask you the same question, create an FAQ. People don't understand what's included, rewrite the offer, right? They don't know what's happening. That means you're not explaining the offer enough. People who aren't booking, improve the sales messaging, okay? Maybe there's something when how you talk to them that's not connecting the right way. Talk to them about how that can actually be done. Nobody knows about the event. Why is that, right? Build an actual promotion plan. How do you want to promote? Do you want to do organic marketing? Do you want to do paid marketing, right? Do you want to do guerrilla marketing? You want to go out in the middle of the street and just have a sign that says, hey, go to my event, right? Something I've been seeing lately has been going around, and I don't know how I feel about it, but people have been talking about, of course, AI flyers, and because of that discontent, people have been also going out and hand-drawn their flyers. I don't know what the conversion rate is on that, to be honest with you, but I've been seeing it. It's great for grabbing attention, but I think that's as far as that might go, to be honest, because I feel like if everything else is in place, you're going to book regardless of whatever the flyer looks like. That's just my perspective, but that's here or there, all right? If you got past clients that are disappearing, all right, creating a follow-up system. So meaning if you got people that asked you questions before and they never asked you again, or they just went away, follow up with them. Ask them, hey, how you doing? Did I miss anything? Is there anything I can help you with? Like, can I help you with a part in this particular book that you wanted to buy so that you can understand what is going to really be beneficial for you, right? If, again, crossing the boundaries, you create and enforce policies. We also have to have policies. As a business, as a brand, we also have to ensure that we have policies. Because if we don't have a policy, people are going to walk all over us and do whatever that they want to be able to do to us, right? And we don't want that, because we want people to what? To buy from us, to book us, to buy tickets. If we want all these things to take place, you want to make sure that all of the steps that I just mentioned, even though it may look like a lot, but you start off with something small. Start off with something small as just letting people know what you do. I know a lot of people are scared to get online. A lot of people are scared to talk. A lot of people may have life taking place and they're just not in the right headspace to make it happen. But I promise you, if you just do it without thinking about it, sometimes just going live, like I'm doing right now, with a little bit of an outline, even if it's from ChatGPT, you can say, yo, this is what I'm doing. This is how it's going to go down. This is the value that I'm bringing to it. If you want to be a part of this, please put it in the comments and I will reach out to you myself, right? That way they are going to feel as if this is something specially for them, especially for the ones that feel like you're talking to them specifically. If you are calling out pain points, is what they usually call them, things that people are relating to, are feeling right now, and you are paying attention to the world, and you're like, I know this may not be the best time to do this said thing, but if you want to be able to join in and be able to get into this event and have this experience, I promise you this is going to be exactly what you need to be able to get a break from the world, right? And enjoy yourself for one night, okay? Shot by Cordell came through. I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate that, all right? So that's going to be pretty much the gist of everything, right? And we're going to go ahead and close it on out. So bringing it back to the title, are your clients really the problem? Like let's really be honest about it. Are your clients really the problem? If people are not buying from you, if people are not booking from you, if people are asking you too many questions, if they are getting to a place to where they are trying to get a lot of revisions on your project, for example, who is really the problem? And is it really a problem situation? Is it just bad communication? Is it just a bad way of not understanding how to run the business side of what you're trying to do? And keep in mind, just because you're in business and an entrepreneur does not mean you know everything. It just means that you're also still trying to figure it out. But if there are some things that's happening on a regular basis, that's happening consistently, that is information. That is telling you, like, hey, this is not available for me to see. I need to be able to see it. Can you create that for me? They might not say this flat out just the way that it is, but ultimately they actually are if you listen and hear it in between the words. Because they're telling you, hey, I need more information on this. I need to know if this is really going to be of value to me, and how can you present that value to me as well. And once you decide to do that, then you can be able to lock that person in. You don't want to make them feel like you're trying to force it down their throat by saying, hey, you're not buying this. Why aren't you buying this? Y'all just broke. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all want to go ahead and buy tickets to this concert, but don't want to go ahead and buy tickets to me. That makes no sense. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? If you really want to stand out, put a green screen up, put your clients in front of them. If they want to go to the Usher and Chris Brown concert, and say, for example, that they maybe wanted to go ahead and get a backstage access or whatever it is, put the green screen up and implant the concert behind them. Make it feel as if, hey, you getting pictures as if you was at the concert, because you might not be able to get these pictures beforehand. Whatever that may be. With all the capabilities we can got right now, you can make it different. You can make it unique. You can make it you. And you can make somebody else want to be a part of that experience. Once you understand how to create the experience and how to deliver on that experience, there's not going to be anything people are not going to be able to do, or not going to be able to argue about, to be able to get in on that experience with you. All right. I feel like that was the gist of everything that I really wanted to say, but I wanted you guys to be able to see what I am expressing when it comes to the topic, your clients are the problem. Please do not get online and start talking shit about your clients. The same clients that you want to pay you, make it make sense to me. Okay? I get it. Things may be tough. Yes. But then we have to figure out, what is it that I need to do at this point? Some photographers and videographers, for example, might be getting into digital products because they might feel like that might be a better route. Maybe there is a different way that you may have to pivot in your business just to ensure that you're still staying afloat. And you're still doing the same thing. Maybe your services might need to go digitally, right? So, for example, and this might be my last example. For example, when we had COVID, the way that a lot of people were able to make money, because they could not go out and actually be face to face with people without being 6 feet apart, they got into the digital aspect. All right. And I know a lot of us, we got tired of that over time, but eventually what's going to happen is people are going to crave it because they can't be able to get that one-on-one and that in-person feel. So they had to be able to decide, you know what, just because I want to be able to still be a part of this, I'm going to go ahead and book this digital class, book this Zoom session, right? Mattia came through. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. We're actually getting ready to wrap up, but we're talking about today, your clients are the problem, or are they? Right? And how to ultimately change that statement so that way we are getting the clients to actually buy from us, and what we need to do when it comes to our marketing. All right. So it goes back to that pivoting, because if we were in a place, if we still was in COVID times and we said, you know what, I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'm going to still have my in-person sessions while the whole country is shut down. Do you think your business is going to survive? Let's be for real. Because if that was the route you was going to take, it was going to be hard. All right. And then, of course, having to understand, for those that did pivot, this is why a lot of them started making a lot of money when it came to just digital products or doing things online, tapping even more into content creation, because people wanted to have that connection even if they couldn't have it in person. Michael stopped in. I appreciate you showing up. It's a pleasure. All right. So keep that in mind. All right. When you are a business owner and you have your own brand, you have to be able to prepare to pivot. All right. Do not take what clients are telling you, how they're trying to connect with you, as a sign of bashing them, as a sign of saying that they are the problem. Because technically, we may have just miscommunicated what we can do to actually help them out. Hold on 1 second. TikTok has this interesting thing where I gotta drag a piece over just to, because if my video is over an hour, it'll make me drag a piece over so I can verify that I'm not asleep. I'm assuming. All right. Kevin Wright just stopped in. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. So that's all I got for y'all tonight. Don't bash your clients, bro. Find a different way to connect with them because they want to spend money with you, but you got to give them some. You got to give them some value, bro. You got to give them some value and give them something they want to stay. Give them something they want to put money on. All right. And on that note, I'm gonna catch y'all next week. Actually, I got a live coming up this Thursday. That is gonna be my photography live that I'm trying to host, and I am actually not trying to host. I'm gonna host it because what I do, photography mistakes, is what it's called. I come online and I actually just do some photography in my living room, and I mess up on purpose for the most part, or try to learn certain things on purpose so that everybody else can learn it with me. And we tap in and we ask questions and we have a good time. And if you guys can come through for that, that'll be on TikTok as well as YouTube. That'll be on Thursday. And if not, I will see you guys again next Monday. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I appreciate you all. Y'all have a good one.